good point, Anna. But I'm wondering if Ron Logan was like, oh, okay, well, very likely that these girls were murdered somewhere around here. They're going to find out I was out drinking. But if they catch the person, you know, they're not going to look into me. So what harm will it be for me to, you know, create this fake story? They're not even going to know about it. Or maybe even create the fake story, not thinking that they were about to be found on your property. You know what I mean? Like, hey, I need and then it just happened to be horrible timing. Just a thought. That's my audio, by the way. Thank you, Rob. Simple Night Shadow, hello. Reach into my soul. Hey, Tommy. Amy, Anna, Miss Thing. Well, all righty. Let's get the show on the road. So I think what we're going to do here is we're just going to play the February 22nd of 2017 presser. We can stop it at any point. If anybody wants to call in, make a comment, has a question, just wants to bounce some ideas off. Nothing long, nothing long-winded, just something real quick. That way we can kind of keep things moving along. What's up, guys? SP74. Jessica, hello. Tamara. Big up to Seattle. Wasting their time investigating Ron Logan. I think it's something they had to do. from my understanding, they grilled Kelsey pretty good too, and the Webbers. Yeesh. That sounds horrible. So we'll jump into that in just a moment. And it's really strange because you have kind of a weird deck of players up there. I think you got the Florifiers guy, right? Isn't he the younger guy in the background who got burnt? You know, that there's some suspicious stuff around all that. I don't know a whole lot about it, so I'm not going to talk too much about it. Then you had Michael Peasley. He's hanging out in the back, but they never mention him. They go right to Greg Massa. And then he just kind of vanishes off the face of the earth. B. Hart, what up? What do you think about the man in the middle? Cyber attack is KK like to use shared internet and claim to never have his own data plan. Don't know too much about that. Sorry. Maybe somebody in the chat can answer to that. Facetious. We just started, Vanessa. Good to see you. Rain Dancer. D, what's up, D? Psych says, I think the 2019 presser was entirely for the killers. I feel like it was aimed directly at Kagan Klein. Honestly, like it's talking right to him. And the one they held on February 22nd in 2017, you got to remember you had the ski mask incident happen on the 20th. The Kleins went to Vegas on the 21st. And then they had the presser on the 22nd. So you had each of those things happen one after the other. So if they know that this person's left the state, boom, here come, let's pull in the FBI. And then we're going to also put out this picture because we can see it, now that we're going to put this out here and all this information that it's just going to flood in, But I just don't think it didn't happen that way. But now the 2017 presser, they mention, I believe, and we'll stop when we come to some of these points. They had an agent that was part of the search on the 13th. Why? How is that possible? To me, that's more suspicious than anything. I know they had an investigation in Kokomo the day prior. I know they were doing something with some CSAM. They had the Gabe Ellis stuff going on. They were doing all these busts. I did a live stream about it. So I can see maybe him being there, but I'm not sure. Why Delphi and why was he part of the search? Because we know it was only between maybe 6 and 9. Well, I guess the official search. I'm not sure, but I think the one that we have the official images and the video, I think it may be a combination of the two. Because if you look at the way NASA does things, the way that their process is, they take each frame and they'll take one frame and they'll do something to it. They'll take away noise, they'll try to clean it up, they'll do all this stuff to it, and then they'll take that same frame and then they'll do something else to it. And they'll try to line them up. So I'm wondering if maybe NASA took all the frames and did what they could, the best they could, and maybe sent it over there. Or vice versa, maybe Disney has some type of technology that could clean it up, some AI maybe. And then from that point, or both, they just said, hey, can you help? And then they sent it over here and said, hey, can you help? What's up, Bossy? I don't think it is enough to arrest Tony. I think they need something to corroborate what he was saying. Like if he's like, there's something you guys need to go look in the Wabash River. There could be a phone there. There could be a blade. Okay, and that's his, or that's the killer's. That could be a lie, right? So then they got to go look in the river. They find the item, and then they got to tie the item to the person that he's kind of pointing out. Seems like an arduous task, if you ask me. What's up, Frank? Yeah, it'd be foolish. Especially because it doesn't seem like he's going to do anything. He's got medical issues. And if it's true, the dude passed a polygraph test. So he may not even be the person we're looking for. Yeah, I mean, if you look at the weird bridge guy image, it's all blurred and all this. Yeah, it looks like him. But that goes back to the Dennis Harmon effect. Yeah, that looks like my dad, is what Sean, would tell us. Because his dad looked like that, like the blurry image. Hi, Tamara says Ron Logan did get tagged with violating his condition of release for DUI and got 4 years in prison. He was released after a few months with an ankle bracelet. Yes, I'm aware of that. But I was wondering, did he ever get charged for, lying to law enforcement, creating that fake alibi? Because I have a feeling if he's just creating this alibi because he doesn't want to become an habitual offender, maybe he thought, well, maybe they were kidnapped from there, or maybe they ran away, or maybe they'll solve the crime before they even care what he was doing. Because he knows if he's thinking I'm not involved, and he's assuming he thinks he understands what's happening, and all he can think about is, man, I don't want to do 3-4 years in prison. Hey, man, I need you to lie for me. Because if they would have solved the case, let's say in 48 hours or even maybe within a week, they wouldn't even looked at Ron Logan. They would have been like, okay, we got our guy. But, days turn to weeks and weeks turn to months. Then the lies started coming out. Man, he was lying. He wasn't where he said he was. What's up, Tom? Thank you. Likewise, buddy. Anna says, maybe the ski mask incident was just KKTK activity as usual. Then they found out some would link it to Delphi. There was an oh shit moment, so they left for Vegas. Yeah, I'm wondering if they went And I did do a live stream on this as if the ski mask incident was their last attempt to clean up loose ends, so to speak. You know, they started thinking maybe the killer went to somebody and said, "Hey, I messed up. This is what I did." And they're like, "Okay, tell me everything." Well, you know, I communicated with this girl, and then this girl put me in contact with the victims. And then he's like, "Oh, well, she's the only other person who might be able to tie you to this?" Yes. Okay, well, we got to go take care of that. And think about it. After they were unsuccessful there, if they were there to, you know, to maybe commit murder again, who knows? But if that was their case to silence a potential witness and they failed, immediately after they failed, law enforcement was finally brought over and said, "Hey, look at this. This is Anthony Schatz here. He was talking with Libby." Now, I was talking with Anthony Schatz right before this guy came up to my bedroom window. You know, I was coming home from school. I was texting like, "Hey, come, I'm home alone. You know, come over. Let's take advantage of this." So I get home and there's this guy. He's just standing, you know, he's just looking in my bedroom window. And the weird thing is, the guy that I was talking to online, who I gave my address to, is Anthony Schatz. Now, Anthony Schatz was also talking to Libby the day that she went missing. And then boom, that's when it all happened last time. Quote unquote. That's how it all happened last time. So we know that from Kagan Klein's interview transcript. Law enforcement, they say it clear as day. So they may never have even found Anthony Schatz, or they may have not even considered it viable, I guess. But one thing we do know is that's the first time they were introduced to it. So that happened on either the 20th or the 21st, right? Now, the very next day after their unsuccessful attempt, what looks to be silencing of a witness, they're off, they're out. Boom. Okay, so while they're in Vegas, law enforcement comes out with the presser on the 22nd, the day that they get to Vegas. And then they're showing this older looking sketch. So they're like, "Oh man." And then they're looking at all the stuff online, you know, listening to the voice, like, "Well, that doesn't really sound like me." Talking to their cop friend, like, "What do you think, man? You think they got us?" "I'm not sure. I think you're going to be okay." They come back. The very day they come back, search warrant served. All right, that's enough rambling. Let me run through the chat real quick and we'll get the party started here. Now, the goal of today is to compare kind of and try to get an idea of what direction and what they were working with, or what they think they had, you know, what they thought they might have had at the time, and why they ignored it for so long. Did they, or were they just changing pace? Hold on one second, guys.
Call from
a bossy.
To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail, press 2.
See my voice, or I'm not sure how this works on the new line.
Nope, you're just it's just your voice.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if I could show video on down at the bridge where they did the search, and I just wanted to show you the difference in the water levels between winter and summer.
Yeah, hold on.
Okay.
I'm gonna send you a different link.
Okay, that's cool. I'm trying not to get my face on there either until this is all said and done over with.
Yeah, so it'll ask you if you want to show your face. Just tell it no.
Okay. Yeah, but couldn't I flip? I want to be able to flip the camera around so I can show you the my phone's being funny. I'm trying to get used to an iPhone. I'm an Android user, so it's
Yeah, so you'll have to control all that stuff. But I did send you the link to your let me know. You can do both at the same time if you want. It's up to you. I'm not sure how that works.
okay. Do you send it to my number or
I sent it to your
my
email.
Okay, let me grab it and out of there real quick. And then, oh, I got it just right now. All right, I'll call you back then.
You got it.
Yeah, I sure do. Thanks, Luke.
All right, bye.
Okay, bye.
Okay, so we'll hang out. We'll wait for Bossy, and we'll have her share her screen, and she's going to show us something. So we appreciate that, Bossy. Thank you. She's kind of boots on the ground.
Okay.
All right.
Can you hear me all right? I'm gonna here. Let me get my camera going and see if I can get everything.
Yeah, I can hear you pretty good.
Okay, I want to get everything set up before I hop out of my truck. It's cold here today. There's the camera. There we go. Let's see. Hi everyone. I'm trying to get my camera situated. You probably can't see anything yet, can you?
No, it's just black screen right now.
Yeah, I don't know why it's not showing my camera.
You can go in and you should be able to select in your options.
Yeah.
Which camera you wanted to use, like the one in the front or the one that kind of takes a mirrored image.
That's how it was last time, but this time it's not even giving me that option. Oh gosh dang it. Oh, it shows the camera off. It shows the camera on, but it's not. It is not letting me stream for some reason. You can't see me or anything, just the black screen, right?
Just a black screen.
Should I try calling in again or?
Yeah, sometimes that does help. It is kind of strange like that.
Okay, I'm gonna leave and I'll come right back then. I'm trying not to distract your show. Okay, thanks.
No, you're good. Don't worry about it.
All right, bye.
Bye. Yeah, thanks, Tom. What's up, Tech Death? What else we got in here? Margaret. Ivy. Good to see you guys. Yeah, they didn't miss a phone on the microwave. That was either just a lie, which, yeah, it was just most likely a lie. I mean, think about it. And then recently you got media saying you put it in the microwave. Like, what?
Gosh dang it. I don't know why my camera's not working today.
And you said it's an iPhone?
It's an iPhone. Yeah.
Did you try swapping? Did you try swapping the cameras?
I sure did. I went in and changed the settings so it'd be my my back-facing camera.
Yeah, maybe try the other one this time.
There's my camera. Oh, it says if I'm having issues to restart my device, but okay, I just put it on the front camera. Let's see. All right, maybe third time's the charm.
If not, then I will take a live video and send it to you through email. How about that?
Yeah, that'll work fine, and I'll play
Okay.
it immediately.
Okay, great. Thanks so much, Liz. I'll try one more time.
Thanks, Bossy.
Okay. Bye.
Bye. Yeah. A couple news agencies recently said he put the phone in the microwave. But that's not what happened. Kagan told investigators when he came home, he found his iPhone on top of the microwave. Now, this iPhone sounds like it was the most important piece of evidence they needed, because when they got their hands on the iPhone, the time that it, and this is quote unquote, the time that the grooming was taking place, which apparently was February 10th, and then the phone all the way through the 15th, all of that was deleted. And for some reason, they couldn't get that information back. But I think that was the piece. And it sounds like either Kagan was instructed or was smart enough to understand that without that evidence, all he's facing now is the CSAM stuff. And that could have been why he went to Vegas, was maybe to sell some stuff and then also confer kind of for some legal counsel from the cop friend that recently moved out there. Oh, here we go.
I'm okay. So I'm sure you can see everything now, right?
Yeah, let me see if I can make this bigger.
Okay.
Okay, that looks like it helps.
So I'm across on the other side of the river. If you look through right here, that's the utility supply company where they were parking, and back behind there. So I'm across the river right now. I'm underneath the pedestrian bridge right now. So
so you could walk right down there and you could throw something in there if you wanted to.
Absolutely. This is normally when I go kayaking, and if I go from Mississinawa onto the Wabash, this is my takeout spot, to be honest. Okay. But this is where they originally started their search. Right here, you can see all the log jams, and you can see how much difference right here. That was the shallow area where you could see all the rocks and everything that they were crawling down. I would say, if I had to guess, the river's probably up at least 2 feet right now, because around the second week of October, they start lowering the Mississinawa Reservoir. In the summertime, they dam it up and don't let very much out, so that way it's filled up so everybody can go water skiing and all of that good stuff. And then in October, they let it back down. So you can see the currents upstream here are a lot stronger in the winter. And the undercurrents, how they pull up in here, it's really bad, because the Wabash, like I said, it's not dredged, it's just dredged naturally, so you never know where the currents are, anything like that. It's pretty steep right here, so I can't get down, but this is easily where they were walking across, and underneath you can see where they were searching underneath the Kelly Bridge. I'm guessing if they were out there at this time of year, it's easily going to be anywhere from above the knee to waist deep.
From where they were searching, do you think they had a good idea, like where it was thrown, or?
I think so. For my personal opinion, I, for some reason, always thought that it came from the pedestrian bridge. I thought maybe I just don't see the way the Kelly Avenue Bridge is, unless you were stopped on there or you had impeccable timing to throw something off when you were driving. I just don't know with the steel beams and everything on it. The pedestrian bridge, or even like you can see, you can walk up right here or behind the businesses that are over there. It's
Mm-hmm.
easily accessible. So with them starting in this general area and then working downstream makes me believe that it was more towards the pedestrian bridge, and they were furthering their search because the current goes downstream to the Kelly Avenue
Would be
Bridge right
less
there.
suspicious as well, right? Taking that.
Absolutely. I
Yeah.
mean, absolutely. I mean, anyone could just walk up here. I mean, you could walk, you could ride your bike, you could drive and park at either place, because the pedestrian bridge is part of, they made a nickel plate trail is what they did, similar to what we're going to do with the Monon Bridge, where it just continues off into the trail. So the pathwalk goes all the way through Peru. So you could easily start over, let's say, on Canal Street somewhere and walk down here, probably maybe a 15-minute walk. And the trail just goes right here along the tree line it follows the whole, the tree line, and it just follows the banks of the Wabash all the way up to about 3 blocks from the Klein house.
And you're saying that the flow, what you're seeing right now, the way that the water's flowing is comparable to how pretty much every year, and this is normal what we're seeing right here?
Every year. And it's going to get higher than this too, because the spillway, they've just started emptying. So normally this part of the Wabash is anywhere between 6 and 10 feet on average, about 8 feet deep, other than you got your little, sandbar islands. But if you were to go right over here to the right, I know for a fact that this part right here is right now, well, where it's rippling, I don't know if you can see, but that's where the rocks were that were sticking out that we could see during the search when they first
Yeah, and you can
started.
kind of see the ripples there. You can kind of get an idea of where the deep water is there in the middle.
Absolutely. So, and the way it's flowing right now, it comes up here, and then it's almost like a whirlpool over here. And the Wabash is notorious for that. It's the undercurrents are what is treacherous to this, especially, these log jumps here. This is all up and down the Wabash River. And then about a quarter mile underneath the Kelly Avenue Bridge, there's a natural gas pipeline that runs through the river. So there's no dredging or anything within. You can't put no trolling motors, no nothing. You have to just float across that, no anchors or anything. So I did see a boat during the search one time. I didn't see it on the river, but I have pictures of it when they had a John boat out on where all the
what kind of boat was it?
It was just like a green, like a DNR John boat that they would use to go up and down the rivers on. Just maybe a 2-person flat bottom John boat. That's what we call them here. So and I have a video of that, and it was parked up where all the ISP officers were, but I never actually witnessed it. My thinking is if for some reason they had to come back out, or they didn't, anything would get caught up on that pipeline. That's my honest opinion. I don't think it would get much further upstream, regardless of what it would be, unless it's something that is light that would float on top of the water, or easily maneuvered by the water, I should say.
Well, while I got you on here, let me ask your opinion. Do you think 5 weeks is enough for them to say, let's say they didn't find anything, they're like, well, we've concluded our search.
Sure.
Do you think 5 weeks is enough to say, hey, there's nothing here?
I'm torn on that question, to be honest. And let me tell you why. I have a friend who, she goes out on the rivers and she searches for things. Well, we saw a guy in one of our local kayaking groups that had lost his, and it was a different river, but it's similar to this. It's about 3 feet normally. He had lost his prosthetic leg. Okay. Yeah, but we found it. She found it. She searched the river and I think it took her 3 to 4 weeks to find it. And it was about a quarter mile upstream, just laying on the bottom
Did it float a little bit?
river. Nope, it was only carried along. It looked like it was only carried along the bottom, like from the current pushing it along and stuff like that. So, but I would say less than a quarter mile. So in about 3 weeks to a month's time, that kind of gives you an idea of how much a current can push something. So I do think, I guess it all depends on what they were searching for, which it's just all
Yeah, that's a
speculation
good
at this
point.
point.
It's a good
You
point.
know, if it's a flash drive or a phone compared to something heavier, like maybe a gun or a knife. Well, let's take knife out of the equation. A gun, I don't think is going to float as far down as something like a phone or a, you know, a flash drive or something like that. So I think I in my personal opinion, I think that they at least found some evidence of what they were looking for. Maybe not everything, but the fact that we have sources telling us that Doug Carter was on scene and things like that, I just don't see him coming in to say, no, we're done. You know, that's something that could just be taken care of from the office.
Yeah, that's true.
So, and I just, that's all. I was in town and running some errands, and I wanted to show you guys, you know, the difference in the water levels, which would make a difference on if they started their search here, why they ended up, you know, 200 or 300 feet further down underneath the Kelly Avenue Bridge because of the currents and everything.
What about flooding? When that place gets flooded, I mean, is there a lot of, I mean, does it get really moving? Is there?
Oh, absolutely. But it's been a while since we've actually crusted and flooded out here on the Wabash. But and that's because the majority of the businesses and homes are, as you can see, up. There's quite a ways up on the bank before you get up to the river. To the road. So the river's, you know, down at a pretty good slope. But yeah, when it floods, it's definitely dangerous for sure. And that could be very well be. I think we did have a flooding right around that time in 2017. So let me scoot over this way a little bit. You can see the bridge, the Kelly Avenue Bridge right here, right underneath there. On the other side is where they were searching up on the banks too.
Oh, wow.
So it very well could have been when it flooded up into here. You know, that's going to carry all kinds of debris, and when it recedes, you know, then anything that, you know, can get stuck and left behind is going to get caught up on the banks. That very well could have been how they found the gun from the Wabash River cleanup. Maybe somebody did throw it in the river and it flooded and it just happened to get hung up on the banks that year.
Yeah, hopefully whatever they found can at least verify whether if somebody's providing them information, hopefully it can verify whether they're telling the truth or not, at the very least.
Absolutely. And I did attend the pre-trial hearing. And the only thing I can really say, I mean, it wasn't much to say, but Kegan didn't say much, but he looked pretty, I'm trying to think of the right word. Almost like he was in shock, like reality is starting to sink in with him. He just kind of had this blank, almost like trying to comprehend that this was his reality now. That was my impression, though.
Because whatever happens, I mean, it's going to end up leading to a change of address for him, right? I mean, they're going to send him to like a real prison.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, Miami Correctional is just our local county jail. It's a newer facility that was built, I want to say, around within the past 10 years. So it's pretty accommodating from what I've heard. But if he gets sent to a bigger prison, like let's say Westfield or something, it's a whole different change of pace there. It's not something that you're going to want to wake up to every day from what I've heard.
So yeah, he's probably feeling the heat finally.
Absolutely. So that's just about all I had. I just really wanted to, I just really wanted to show you that, you know, everyone, the differences, because as far as the training too, and my personal thought would be if they're going to train in water, Number one, Indiana has specific schools for that, for training their officers and search and rescue and things like that. I would think they would do it at this time of year, when
Yeah.
conditions are higher and they can see the flow of the river and not crawling on their hands and knees. And if you just look, this just isn't a place that, out of all the rivers and places in the state of Indiana, I just don't see why they would choose here to conduct.
And not only that, they would have told us. They would have been like, "Oh, it's just a training exercise."
Absolutely. And I would think if they were going to be doing something like that, they would maybe involve the local Von Lick kennels that trains their canines and everything around here too. If they really were wanting to have the canines on site and stuff like that, there would be more buzz about it. It's a small town. I mean, word travels fast. So
yeah, they were quiet as kept with it.
Absolutely.
They still haven't told us what it was all about.
No, they haven't. And when I was in court, Kegan's lawyer had stated that, they have another, but they were still going over discovery, and they have another conference in a couple weeks. Now, that could have been the December 22nd that he was talking about.
Mhm.
But the way that I took it was like maybe they have another type of negotiation on the table. Now, I don't want anybody to take that as fact. Okay, this is just my thoughts and opinion.
Well, people need to go do their own homework anyway, Shouldn't be relying on us for your facts. We're just here to kind of guide. We're here to guide you and share what the hell we're doing because we're active about it.
Absolutely. And let me see if I can get just a hair over. Remember how we'll have to go back and look on some of the other videos, but can you see that orange marker that they spray painted on there? Maybe if I go down a little bit, it's on the
No.
Okay, I'll have to go.
But I can see the pillar that you're talking about. You're talking
Yeah.
about that one right there to the left.
Yeah, there's that one and the one on the right. They
Okay.
marked those two with some orange spray paint, and I'll have to go back and look at some of my older videos. But that'll give us, if we look at the search, that'll give us an indication of how much the water has actually gone up between then and now too.
Oh wow.
But I follow I use an app called River App. Just like it sounds, River APP, and it tells you the river heights of any river in the world on an hourly basis. So that's how I kind of gauge, before I'm going to go out on the waters, what the level is and how I need to prepare for the day and stuff like that. But
Well,
it's
that's
good
awesome.
information too.
Yeah,
So,
thanks
but,
for getting us some boots on the ground.
no
It is
problem.
kind of good. It gives us a better understanding of what they were looking for, why they were looking in those areas, but most
Mhm.
importantly, is it possible that it could have traveled much further? It doesn't seem like they thought so, right?
I don't think so. I mean, I would say the total search area, because they started here under the pedestrian bridge just a little bit by
And went
these,
downstream, right? They
and
didn't
went
go any
all
further up.
No, they did not go any further up. So that's why I'm thinking that their tip originated from the pedestrian bridge, because they started here and then they worked their way downstream over here.
Yeah, because it wouldn't be much further. That makes
No.
sense.
And
Yeah,
they-
the tip must have been the person threw or was on the pedestrian bridge.
Mhm.
I wonder if he said it could have been either or, and they just kind of had to do both, maybe.
That very
Who
well
knows?
could have been. Maybe they were just starting further upstream to make sure that they're,
Process
to
of
make sure they had
elimination.
everything covered. Correct.
Right.
But I could have sworn in the early times that I started doing some research on Kegan that I've seen a picture of this pedestrian bridge in Peru on, I don't know if it was one of his album covers or in just some of those pictures, and I have not been able to find it since. But I always thought, when I think of him, he has little telltale signs of him telling on himself. I want to say, like, he has
Mhm.
something so bad that he wanted to get out, but he just like he couldn't say it, and he was trying to do it through his music and his pictures for his album art and stuff like that, all the bridges, and just kind of an eerie foreshadowing, in my opinion.
Well, it seemed like he was just kind of locked into the matrix. Like he could literally shut off the real world and then just log into this almost fake world in his brain where he's this good looking guy and he's catfishing all these girls and he's got all this attention. He probably loved that feeling, because as
I
soon as
think
he logged out, look, we know who the real Keegan is, you know?
I think so. And in the past couple weeks, I've talked to a couple people who actually met him a couple times before all this. And they said he really just acted like a normal guy, funny and communicated and just not close friends, but other people that have met him have said that you just wouldn't have expected that, so I kind of am getting both sides of this story here, but they said, he just acted like a, hanging out. But in a small town like this, um I was fortunate enough to travel the world growing up as an Air Force brat, but a lot of people from around here, they've never even maybe traveled further than an hour or two outside of Indiana, and that really gives people a different mindset, small town mindset. And I really hate to see that, but they tend to think that everywhere in the world is like it is here, if that makes
Mhm.
sense. So they think if they can get away with fooling people and being somebody else online, that nobody's going to catch on, or the consequences of their actions, really. um so those are just my thoughts on it for the day.
Well, I want to thank you again, Bossy.
No problem. And I'm going to try to get home in time to catch the rest of your show. And if not, I'll be on replay crew.
All right. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday.
Okay.
Thank
Thanks.
you
You
so
too.
much. Bye.
All right. Bye.
Well, there you guys have it. Bossy with some boots on the ground reporting current status of the Wabash River directly in the areas where they began the search. Thank you so much. All right, let's go ahead and get this video going here.
Okay, good morning. On behalf of Sheriff Tove Lisenby of the Carroll County Sheriff's Department, who is the lead agency in this investigation, Delphi Mayor Shane Evans, I would like to welcome you to Delphi, Indiana, and Carroll County. If you would allow me a little bit of latitude here before we get into the meat and potatoes of the press conference to give a couple of thank yous, I would like to do that now. We volunteer because we care. Again, we volunteer because we care. I saw that on a fire truck here in Delphi, Indiana yesterday. And I believe it's a way of life here in Delphi in the Carroll County community. Because the way this community has wrapped their arms around this investigation and provided not just resources for officers as they're investigating this case, but also their willingness to give us information and anything that we have asked, including this church today for the press conference that Pastor Todd has given us. And of course, we want to thank the Delphi United Methodist Church for this
Thanks, Bossy.
facility today.
Tony Slocum.
Again, I would like to thank everyone who's given donations and any general support to this investigation. I would also like to thank in advance the person who's going to call our tip line and give us that tidbit of information that's going to lead to the arrest of the murderers of Liberty German and Abigail Williams. And I would like to thank the media for their patience. I understand there's information that you would like to get to your subscribers, get out into the media. But as you know, we have information that is germane to our investigation that we have to keep close to the vest because this investigation is too important to make any mistakes and give out the wrong information. So again, I thank you for your support and your patience as we go through this case. There are a couple of acknowledgments I must introduce today, a couple of folks, department heads that are here. We have Delphi Mayor Shane Evans, Carroll County Prosecutor Rob Ives, Carroll County Sheriff Tove Lisenby, Delphi Police Chief Steve Mullen, Indiana State Police Superintendent Doug Carter, FBI Assistant Special Agent in Charge, Greg Massa, and Captain Dave Burston, Chief Public Information Officer for the Indiana State Police. Obviously, the reason we are here today is to give out information in the double homicide of Liberty German and Abigail Williams.
Yeah, exactly, Vanessa.
On February 13th, Abigail Williams, 13, and Liberty German, 14, went on a hike at the Delphi Historic Trails. On February 13th, they were reported missing later in the afternoon when they failed to return to a pickup location as a family member returned to pick them up from their hike. After organized searches on February 14th, one of those search parties unfortunately found the bodies of the two teens. Evidence in this case has led investigators to believe this is a double homicide, and that's what we're investigating at this time.
Yeah, I agree with that, Moon Crystal.
Also shown in front of me is an enlarged depiction of a person believed to be the suspect in this case. We are actively looking for this person. We believe this person is our suspect, and we would like any information, regardless of how small or minute you might believe that information to be. It might be the one piece of a very large puzzle that helps us get this person in custody.
And at this point, they
So
only
please call our
had
tip line,
part of the audio.
844-459-5786.
And a real blurry photo.
And again, I would like, as we go through this press conference, to remind the media,
Or really not even a photo, just a clip from the video.
there's going to be information that is germane to our investigation that we're not going to release today. But at the end of the press conference, we will have time for question and answers. So as we go through our speakers, I ask you to please hold your questions to the end of the press conference. So at this time, I would like to invite Indiana State Police Superintendent Douglas Carter to the podium.
Words tend to escape during these periods of times, and I've only had a couple of other situations in my lifetime when I'm able to stand before you and say that.
Big up to New Zealand.
Why Libby? Why Abby? Why Delphi? Why Carroll County? Why the region? Why the state? Why even in the nation?
Why
I say
the
that
planet? Why the galaxy?
because
Why
this
the
is a
universe?
classic example and a clear example that evil lives amongst us. To the family, to the community, the region, the state, as a leader of the Indiana State Police, I say, I am so very sorry. Resources. It's unlikely that any of you will ever see, nor will we ever see or experience again, the level of resources that are attached to this investigation. To the media. My gosh, all I can say is just give you my sincere thanks. See, this isn't like TV. There's a perception that this can be solved very quickly. Anything that we do can be solved very quickly, but this is a testament that it can't, and we need you. We've needed you since last week. We need you today, and we need you tomorrow. And likely, we'll need the media all across this nation.
Did you hear that?
So from a simple guy like me to you, I say thank you. To the people dressed funny like me
No
and those who
problem, Doug.
represent the law enforcement profession, please understand we're human beings just like you. I'd stand anywhere in the nation with people standing behind me. And I would suggest to you that every time something like this happens, a little piece of us dies as well. But I also want you to understand how committed we are
Chadwick.
as a collective one. As a collective one.
That's
And
a
we
new
will
one.
continue. This has been briefed all the way up to the director of the FBI, Director Comey, and Greg Mass is going to talk a little bit about that. I've had an opportunity to speak to my boss, Governor Eric Holcomb, a couple different times about this situation. And every time I do, I see this look that comes over his face, just like yours and this community's. And that's the unfortunate experience of experiencing evil. We're not stopping. The poster in front of you. Someone knows who this individual is. Someone knows who this individual is. Is it a family member? Is it a neighbor? Is it an acquaintance? Is it an associate?
I don't know, Vanessa.
Or maybe that one guy that lives over at that one place that just kind of not right. Maybe it's his jeans. Maybe it's his jacket or his sweatshirt.
Maybe it's the mayor. What?
Maybe it's his shirt tail. Maybe it's his posture.
Do you guys see
Maybe
Michael
it's the
Peasley
right
back
hand in
there?
his pocket.
Over Doug's left
You
shoulder.
see, even with technology, we need human intelligence. In other
It's
words,
like a
we
little
need you.
shiny head.
I'm not suggesting that science, that everything that we can do as science has been
There's a
done.
good question.
Because
What's up, Sean? Sean Bianchi says, why was the level of resources so high? Something they never saw before. I actually have that written down right here. And that kind of goes to the other question, why was there another agent there as well? What is it about this crime that they needed all these resources? What is it? What makes it so different? Was it the fact that their main suspect is just fled? You know, just the day before Kagan Klein was heading to Vegas. You know, maybe they had no idea where they were going. They just knew that they were gone. They knew the ski mask incident happened. They had a suspect. They found out the suspect was Kagan, and he had fled. Very next day, we have this presser here.
we are just getting started. Abby and Libby deserve us. They deserve every single one of us, and not just the people standing up here on the stage.
Yeah,
that have
he
given
does
so much
have
of
those
their
vibes,
lives
huh,
to
Vanessa?
not just this, but to this profession, but each and every one of you. Each and every person listening, watching, or seeing this in some form.
Oh man, that'd
We
be
need
so
you.
crazy, Chopper.
Libby and Abby need you. Please do not rationalize tips away. Rationalize what you think that might not be important away. By thinking he would never do that to another human being.
Yeah, I covered that case before, Tamara.
Or
It was the day
think what I
before,
know doesn't
but
matter.
it was over in Kokomo. Why would he help in the search for
Like
two
folks
missing
like the
girls?
people that are
And
standing
why would he
behind
still
me
be there?
with such incredible passion and commitment and dedication to this profession make that determination. Tips are anonymous. Some might not want to talk about it because they don't want to get involved, because they know the individual. Again, he may be a family member, probably has family. No one will ever
That's
know.
scary. It's a scary thought.
No one will ever
Sean.
know. There's not an agency on the planet better than helping us facilitate this than the FBI. And they're as entrenched in this as anybody. No one will know. As poor as this picture is, somebody knows. And if you're watching, we'll find you. Who's next? I hate to ask you that question, and I'd give my life to not have to. But I know you've asked yourself that very question.
Yeah,
We must
that's scary.
recognize it. You see, we're all
Who's
the same.
next?
We're all
Like,
human
what?
beings.
What do you mean, who's next?
We must keep our resolve.
Better go catch
for
that
Libby
dude.
and Abby, for this community, and frankly, to ensure that good trumps evil. And it will. You're going to hear more in just a minute about what we know. Do not discount the voice that you'll hear. We will stay committed, with resolve very rarely exhibited with human behavior, until this conclusion. Please be patient. Become our partners and communicate with us as often as you can. And now, from a very humble servant, that's the most blessed guy on this planet to represent the profession that I represent, to Abby and Libby. It's my hope and my prayer that you're now experiencing God's promise of eternal peace.
At this time, I would like to invite Greg Massa, Assistant Special Agent in charge for the FBI, to the podium.
All right, before Greg jumps up here, so here's the image that they're showing everybody. This is the only thing they really released. I think it was this image and the older looking sketch. So on the 22nd, almost 2 weeks after the crime, they're saying, we're looking for this guy. And they're not showing us any video with his movement. So they're thinking, hey, that might be pretty clear. That kind of looks like the guy that we suspect.
Good morning. As the Assistant Special Agent in charge, my role is to supervise and lead the FBI's criminal investigations across the state of Indiana. 9 days ago, we had an agent that was participating in the search for the missing victims. And from that moment until this morning.
So let's replay that.
Libby. It's my hope and my
At this time, I would like to invite Greg Massa, Assistant Special Agent in charge for the FBI, to the podium.
Good morning. As the Assistant Special Agent in charge, my role is to supervise and lead the FBI's criminal investigations across the state of Indiana. 9 days ago, we had an agent that was participating in the search.
9 days ago, we had an agent that was participating in the search, and I quote. So they're 9 days from the 13th, and they have an agent. They haven't even been found. Strange. I wonder who that agent is. Does anybody know? I'm curious.
For the missing victims. And from that moment until this morning, we have stood shoulder to shoulder with our law enforcement partners here. The FBI plays an important support role in this investigation, this joint investigation. I'm very humbled by the response that the resources that are under my direction have brought, and hopefully the contributions that we are making. On any given day, we have 20 FBI agents that are here providing investigative help, whether that's running down leads, conducting interviews, helping with lead tracking system, providing intelligence analysis support, providing technical assistance. Every night, I update our FBI headquarters to our Deputy Assistant Director, and as the Superintendent mentioned, this has been briefed to the FBI Director on 2 occasions. So whatever resource that the FBI has available, whether it's here in the state of Indiana or nationally, we have brought those resources, and we will continue to do so. We were committed to working around the clock, as we have been over the last 9 days, and will continue to do so until this case is solved. To the members of the community, when I met with our behavioral analysis unit and their expertise and their experience, it is oftentimes even unwitting that a member of the community may have information that is germane to this investigation. And I'd like the community to go back 9 days and go back to the.
All right. Now this is this guy actually goes. He kind of goes down a checklist of items. He's like, you know, these are the things to look out for here. Go back 9 days and see if you remember a person that you know you might be related to or an acquaintance. And then he goes down this checklist of things they may have been doing, the way they may have been acting. And man, only one person I've ever known, me personally, marked off every single box.
Afternoon of February 13th, Monday, February 13th. And just think, if you had an interaction with an individual who inexplicably canceled an appointment that you had had together, or an individual called into work sick and canceled an important appointment or a social engagement, and at the time gave what would have been a plausible explanation. My cell phone broke, or I had a flat tire on my car. But in retrospect, that excuse no longer holds water. That may be important. Likely so are behavioral indicators that this individual may have exhibited since the afternoon of May 13th. Did this individual travel unexpectedly? Did they change their appearance? Did they shave their beard, cut their hair, change the color of their hair? The superintendent mentioned the clothes that this individual was wearing in the photo. Did they change the way they dress? Did their behavior change? Did their sleep pattern is different now? Did they start abusing drugs or alcohol whereas they would not have? Have they been anxious, nervous, irritable? Have they followed this case and what the media is putting out with a sense that is not normal?
Check.
Have they had ongoing discussions regarding their whereabouts on that afternoon or thereafter? Please, if you have that information, call that into the tip line. After this press conference, the FBI will be putting out a series of these indicators on our social media, so it'll be available not only to the citizens of this community, but across the state of Indiana and then nationally as well. We'll also be utilizing digital billboards, and in any way we can spread this message, we will. I'll just finalize my remarks just to say that to my law enforcement partners behind me, to the community at large, 9 days ago, the FBI stood shoulder to shoulder with you. We're not going anywhere. We will be here until this case is solved, and I am confident this case will be solved. Thank you.
At this time, I would like to invite Captain Dave Burston, Chief Public Information Officer for the Indiana State
Charlie,
Police.
not yet, but I'm going to tackle that here again, I think tonight.
Thank you, Tony. We do have some new information for you today. It's in the form of an audio file from the cell phone that Liberty German had with her at the time. We're not going to play everything that we have, but Liberty had the presence of mind to turn on her video camera. Again, we're not going to be able to share everything with you, but we are going to share this audio clip with you momentarily with the hope that somebody will recognize this voice. And I want to be very clear that what you're about to hear is just 4 short words. Excuse me, 3 words. Down the hill. You're going to hear
crazy,
this
right,
played
Margaret?
4 times. The audio quality is not superb. But there's enough there that somebody could recognize this person's voice. And as Superintendent Carter said, not to rationalize away. If you hear this today and you think, my God, that sounds like fill in the blank, call us. Make an anonymous tip. Tell us who
Do
you
a
think
live
it
stream.
is. Let us investigate it. If it's not the right person, they'll just be out
That's
a
what I
little bit of
heard.
time and they'll be cleared and they can go on and they'll never know that you called. But you may tell us who the right person was. And you could be the person that helps us to solve this
Good
horrible
question,
crime.
Sean. Apparently he
Micah,
was just
play
in the
the clip,
neighborhood,
please.
just hanging out.
Could you play it one more time? So that audio clip
Sounds like
later
clicking.
today will be available on the Indiana State Police website. You can simply go to our website and add the extension /delphi.htm. There will be information on that website that talks about the reward that is being collected now. Sergeant Slocum will talk more about the amount of money that's been raised towards solving this case. And really, money shouldn't be what drives somebody to help solve this, just a sense of community and wanting to help and get this person off the street. The image that you see there of the suspect, that came from Liberty's phone. I think many of you had speculated that before. We weren't prepared to discuss that at the time. We have more video. We're not releasing it. It's germane to our investigation. And it's important that we spread that person's voice far and wide for somebody that will recognize who
On the
that is
13th,
and will
Margaret,
call us and
while they
tell
were
us.
missing, before they were announced deceased or found dead.
I also want to tell you that there will be
Prior.
a tip line. There's an email tip line. I'll spell it out for you, and it'll be on the website later, but if you want to copy this down, tips can be emailed to
I think that comes from the FBI. They use that word a lot.
LIBBYTIP at CACOSHRF.com. So that is abbyandlibbytip at CACOSHRF.com.
That's also in the description of this
Phone
video.
number, email, call the
And
local,
the phone
call
number.
the Delphi Police, call the Carroll County Sheriff's Department, call the
But they
state
prefer
police.
email, apparently.
Help us to capture the person responsible for these murders.
As I started out, we volunteer because we care. I believe that's the way of life here in Carroll County,
Who's
in the
that?
Delphi area. As Captain Bursta indicated, we now have monies for a reward. I believe we're in upwards to around $41,000, with $25,000 being donated by the FBI, $10,000 by
Thanks, Tom.
the Indiana Packers, a local business. The Andersons have donated $5,000. Indiana
Maybe.
Lafayette Savings and Loans has donated $1,000. They do that because they care. We need to solve this case. We have every resource that we can think of to prompt people to give us information. We need to get the murderer of Liberty German
Thanks, Bossy.
and Abigail Williams into custody sooner rather than later. That will be the end of our press conference. As far as speakers at this time, we will entertain questions.
Yeah, Tony does look guilty as hell. His eyes, he's just looking around like, oh my God. Stop showing that image. Joint partnership, he said.
Is there any specific information that says the person is local or from far away? No. Could this be a stranger crime? That's a possibility. Could this be somebody that knew that the girls were going to be there at that time? That's a possibility. Nothing is off the table.
That's exactly right. The only thing I would add is where the FBI can come involved, and if it does lead interstate or multi-jurisdictionally, we have that capability to stretch it further outside of this immediate community across the state or across state lines.
I don't know who that is.
Let's go one at a time. I'll let you do your follow-up, then I'll come to you. What's your follow? Go ahead and do your follow-up.
How long after Liberty posted to social media did this crime happen? Did the murders happen immediately after, or was there time for someone to see them on social media and then meet them on that trail?
As a special, we know that there are going to be lots of questions that we specifically cannot answer because there are things that we do not want to tip our hand to the person responsible for this. That kind of information we're keeping close to ourselves. Is it reasonable to think that that's an area?
Yeah, I think so.
One of two things happen. That was a chance encounter.
They have the
That's
video
possible.
at this point.
Don't think it's likely, but it's possible. Or
All right, let's listen very carefully. He basically tells us, and we
do
knew
not
from
want to
this
tip our hand
what was
to
going
the
on.
person responsible for this.
Listen.
That kind of information we're keeping close to ourselves. Is it reasonable to think that that's an area? One of two things happen. That was a chance encounter. That's possible. Don't think it's likely, but it's.
He said, I don't think it's likely. He said a chance encounter, you know, like an opportunistic killer or basically picking victims at random. He's like, not likely. I don't think so. Now listen to the other option.
Possible. Or that person knew that they were going to be there. That's possible as well. Those are things that we're looking into. Question over here. Similar to what I just said, there's specific pieces of information that we're not discussing. The best example that I can give you is if somebody is a victim of a burglary and then they're murdered, everybody wants to.
All right. Now this kind of goes back to one thing I was talking. It reminds me of CD. Whenever we talk about CD and he gets into that gruesome stuff. Oh, what the heck's this guy's name? I just forgot his name. Burston. I think it's Dave Burston. Well, like the things that he's saying right now, are completely gruesome. But to him, he's so desensitized to it. He's like, oh, people getting shot in the head, stabbed in the throat. Watch, listen to this.
Similar to what I just said, there's specific pieces of information that we're not discussing. The best example that I can give you is if somebody is a victim of a burglary and then they're murdered, everybody wants to know how they were murdered. If we go into the details and we say they were stabbed twice in the back and they were shot in the head, then everybody hears that. And then when we get tips, people tell us that, and the tip is useless. We're keeping information that will only be known by the person or by who that person told. And when that's shared with us, it will set off the alarm bells and we'll know.
Captain, based upon what you have and other investigators have seen of this crime, do you believe this individual has killed before, and what makes you believe he will do it again?
Greg, I'll let Agent Massa address that.
There has been no indication right now that this is a part of a serial murder, if that's what your question is. So as of the facts that we have collected at this point in time, we have not tied it to any other known homicides.
We have other information that we're not sharing.
So the reporter asked him, do you have more video and audio that you're not sharing? And that's what he's responding to. But it's hard to hear.
Specific to your question, Raphael, keep in mind that there the likeliness, the possibility of more than one person. We're not saying that the voice that you heard is the same as this person here. This is all very complicated.
See, now pay attention to that part. So when we dive into the 2019 presser, it's going to be something completely different. They're going to say the opposite.
Very involved, and as much as we would like to tell you everything, more importantly, we want to solve the crime. That could be or could not be. The audio is also from Liberty's phone. So
Yep,
again,
that's right,
she
Mitzi.
had the presence of mind to have the phone on and to capture video as well as audio. No, I can't. That is a loop that we played 4 times for purposes for you to hear it. No, there's nothing I can speak to about the scene investigation and collection of evidence. Yes, and thank you for asking that, Paris. To clarify, the image that you're looking at here came from Liberty's phone.
Is it longer? Are you holding some that you can see how he walks? Is there any more of this image?
Okay, did you hear this reporter ask, is there anything that you're holding back? We would like to see something with the way he walks. So let's see how he responds.
There's nothing that we are prepared to release at this time.
See, even the way he answers it, now we know kind of what he really meant. So we need to learn from their language that they're using now so we can kind of decode what they're trying
No,
to
I
tell
can't
us
say that
today.
because we weren't there. We know that voice was captured from her cell phone. We know this image was captured from her cell phone.
Yep,
Keep
a
in mind,
targeted
all of you are in the
attack.
television business. What do you see out of the TV? You see this. You don't see what's over here. You don't see what's over here. So
Moose horns?
there's lots more that we're looking at.
I was going to put the moose horns over Bridge Guy's head, but I decided to, I decided
As I
against it.
indicated before, the reason we believe this is suspect is based on the totality of the evidence that we've gathered thus far. That has led us to believe this is the person that at least participated in the murders of Liberty German and Abigail Williams.
Arsons, yeah. Gateway crime. The McDonald effect.
Now, we're not going to release that part of the information, but it did come from her phone, which entails that even though we enhanced it, it's the best we have. That's the image we're giving. And just because you and I do not recognize that photo, there, as indicated earlier, a person that works with what appears
like,
to be
"Let's
Mel
not talk
White
about
in
that."
that photo might recognize him. Again, a family member might recognize that. Unfortunately, it's the best we have, and that's what we're going to go with at this time. If we decide to go other routes later, we'll let you know.
Just to clarify one point here, do you believe that based on the evidence you guys have, that Libby turned her cell phone on and started recording specifically because this person seemed suspicious or was creeping her out in some way?
Yep, Mitzi, that's him back there. You can kind of see his shiny head.
This young lady's a hero, there's no doubt. To have enough presence of mind to activate the video system on her cell phone to record what we believe is criminal behavior that is about to occur. As far as the first part of your question, that's something we're going to keep close to the vest as part of our investigation. But there's no doubt in our minds that.
See right there, he makes it seem as if they started recording and may have said something along the lines of, hey, something, they thought they were going to get hurt.
That young lady is a hero.
Yep. But I doubt it. Nothing's off the table, but
Unfortunately,
we're going
when you're
with
in
this
the law
one.
enforcement business, there are crimes that occur in this nature. As far as the time frame and different things, in my experience, are unique to my career. But there are a lot of smart people standing behind
Very
me
gruesome.
that will probably have a different answer But again, rest assured, we're using our resources to put the person and or persons that murdered Liberty German and Abigail Williams into our jail here in Carroll County.
The only thing that I want to add to that is all of you have
not
more
always.
questions than we can answer here today without compromising the case. I think we all can agree there's one thing we want to do. We want to capture the person or persons responsible for this crime. We wanted to get this to get the audio clip out to you. We wanted to confirm to you where that image came
Right.
from. We've accomplished those two things here
He's
today.
like, they twisted off
We
this guy's
encourage you to
arm.
play that audio to your audiences frequently,
Like some horror
over the
movie.
days to come, so that we can develop a tip to that tip line or to the email address that I gave you.
I think he
or
may
to the
be
website
retired.
information that'll be on the State Police website at 10:45. At this time, we're going to conclude the news conference.
Yeah, just a
Thank
Monday.
you all very much for coming here today and to helping to spread the word. Thank you.
He's like, shut the mic off. All right, guys, there you have it. 2017, February 22nd. This is just 2 days after the ski mask incident and 1 day after KK's little Vegas trip. Now we're going to look into the new direction presser. Which was April 22nd, 2019, just 2 months after they just did a press conference. So what changed from February 13th, which they did on the anniversary? What changed from that point in 2019 all the way to April of 2019? What changed in that little time frame? Too much protest? Yeah, it's a good point. Greg Massa made a comment also. He's like, hey, hold on. He's like, the reason we're here is so we can provide the resources for anything that's going across state lines. To me, that pointed at Kagan Klein again. I mean, he left and crossed a whole bunch of state lines, apparently. It's almost like they would need the FBI and those resources. I remember Doug Carter saying, hey, we visited everywhere. He goes, we visited, and I think he said the West Coast. And we know they went to California out there. So, I mean, hopefully it's all just going to be explained to us, but sooner than later, Yep. And that's why we got to use what we know to be true. You can kind of see how they're coding their word and the phrases that they use. So now that we know how they hide their secrets, when we hear them speak, we can kind of use that to decode what they're trying to say. Well, at least attempt to have a better understanding, you know. And it seemed like most of us had a pretty good grasp on what they were really trying to say, and then it ended up being verified that we weren't too far off. So it's always good. Yeah. So he said, and officer just said BG at least participated in the murders. He wouldn't even go as far as to say that the voice and the guy on the bridge were the same guy. In this presser, I think it's one of the first things Doug even mentions. Yeah, and then they also said something. Here, I was taking some notes here. All right, so my first note was, is that all they can do is wait for tips? I mean, aren't they out there investigating? What can they do if they are investigating? If anybody out there, any experts know. And they also say, you know, we don't want to get any of this information wrong. It's a little too late for that, buddy. Unless the two sketch fiasco or debacle or whatever you want to call it was strategic. Sounds like that info was very wrong. And we did touch on this one. Why so many resources? What was different about this case? You know, why did Doug Carter say we'll never see anything like this again in our career? What is it about this case that caused that? Right? I mean, what is it? You're not curious? Mike Peasley in attendance. I think I already pointed that out. Doug Carter always saying, we're just getting started. So remember, that's 2017. He said, we're just getting started. We're just getting started. We've watched every press conference, and he says that we're just getting started. I don't like that. Yep, I think we touched on everything else. The FBI was Greg Massa and Michael Peasley. And I think they even had the officer that ran into the Flora fires. I think he was up on stage. Something Yoder, I think. I could be wrong on that name. Sean, he said the device. It came from Libby's phone. But I guess, you know, it could go to the phone and then somewhere else from there. So it could be semantics. Yep, Vanessa, and that's Greg Massa. Thanks, Chopper. Get those likes up, folks. It helps my channel. Burston retired from ISP. Thank you, Digital. Now working as an info officer for the prison system. He wanted to release more information. More, in my opinion. Yeah, it seems like almost like it was common sense to him, you know, like. And if you look at all these press conferences, it's all theater. So whatever we haven't been shown or what we don't know about this case is really, it's something different. All these people, you know, they feel like once it's solved, it's going to be good for their career. So it's like they're trying to jump on board, you know. So there must be a lot going on. I'm thinking with the crime scene. I mean, what else could explain it? Oh, well, I guess the pedal ring, right? maybe that explains it. Question is, if they didn't find out about Anthony Schatz until the 21st, a week after the crime, would they have had time to make discovery of this pedal ring by the 22nd, 9 days after? I guess would be the question. 2 years apart. Yep. The strange thing about this new direction presser is 2 months prior, they already did a news conference. So something changed in that window of time. Question is, what was it? Murderers? All right, let's get this one going on. Here we go.
Wasn't sure quite what to expect when I walked out, but I got to say to the Delphi community, how grateful I am. You inspire people that you don't even understand, and you don't even understand why.
Yep, that's the one, Tamara.
Information is being released today is the result of literally thousands and thousands of hours of extraordinary investigative efforts by Delphi, Carroll County, the FBI, the Indiana State Police, and countless other agencies.
Yes, Mary, this would be April 22nd, 2019.
This community surrounded us some 26 months ago, and you did everything you could to support us, but most importantly, you surrounded the family of these two little girls. Gosh, I'll never forget it.
Thanks, Vanessa.
After you hear what we're going to release today, I'm going to ask for your continued support,
Thanks,
your
Double
continued
Rainbow.
understanding, your empathy and compassion
We're just getting
as we
started.
move forward to find out who did this, and we will. We're seeking the public's help to identify the driver of a vehicle that was parked at the old CPS DCS welfare building in the city of Delphi that was abandoned on the east side of County Road 300 North next to the Hoosier Heartland Highway between the hours of noon to 5.
It's almost like he's saying, we know about you. Like you thought we didn't, but we do.
On February 14th, 2017.
We know you were there.
If you were parked there or know who was parked there, please contact the officers at the command post at the Delphi City Building.
It's almost like, or we're going to arrest you for all the CSAM that you have. We're going to give you until, what was it, August of 2019 or 2020? They finally arrested Keegan Klein. They're like, okay, we're going to do this press conference and we're going to give you some time to kind of come forward. Hypothetically.
Releasing additional portions of the audio recording from that day. Please keep in mind, the person talking is one person and is the person on the bridge with the girls.
Well, thanks for clearing that up.
This is not two different people
go.
speaking. Please listen to it very, very carefully. We are also releasing video recovered from Libby's phone. This video has never before been previously released. The video shows a suspect walking on the bridge. When you see the video, watch the person's mannerisms as they walk. Watch the mannerisms
Thanks.
as
Steve.
he walks. Do you recognize the mannerisms as being someone that you might know?
What's up, Sharon?
Remember, he is walking on the former railroad bridge Because of the deteriorated condition of the bridge, the suspect is not walking naturally due to the spacing between the ties. During the course of this investigation, we have concluded the first sketch released will become secondary as of today. The result of the new information and intelligence over time leads us to believe the sketch, which you will see shortly, is the person responsible for the murders of these two little girls. We also believe this person is from Delphi, currently or has previously lived here, visits Delphi on a regular basis, or works here. We believe this person is currently between the age range of 18 and 40, but might appear younger than his true age. Directly to the killer,
What?
who may be in this room. We believe you are hiding in plain sight. For more than 2 years, you never thought we would shift gears to a different investigative strategy, but we have. We likely have interviewed you or someone close to you.
We likely raided the shit out of your house in Peru.
We know that this is about power to you. And you want to know what we know.
Who's that, Aunt Clara?
And one day, you will. A question to you. What will those closest to you think of when they find out that you brutally murdered two little girls? 2 children. Only a coward would do such a thing. We are confident that you have told someone what you have done. Or at the very least, they know because of how different you are since the murders. We try so hard to understand how a person could do something like this to two children. I recently watched a movie called The Shack.
What's up, Copper?
And there's also a book that talks so well about evil, about death, and about eternity. To the murderer, I believe you have just a little bit of a conscience left. And I can assure you that how you left them in that woods is not what they're experiencing today.
40 something, maybe?
To the family, I hope that you all will give them some time, because we're going to be asking that there's no media inquiry or no media response for at least the next 2 weeks, and I hope you understand why. The family found out about this information this morning. I just want the family to know that when I take my last breath on this earth, I'll be thinking of them.
Hey, blind squirrel.
There's going to be a tremendous
Retirement
amount of
case,
questions.
huh?
I know that. Never in my career have I stood in front of something like this. Please be patient with us, please.
What's up, Amanda?
We're just beginning. We are just now beginning. And I can tell you on behalf of the sheriff
so
and
you're
the police
just now
chief,
beginning? Okay.
so many other partners
That's good to know.
that have stood with us over this period of time, that we will not stop.
I just unveiled the person that we believe responsible for the murder of these two little girls. So I invite media to take a look at that now. It's not up. Kim. We're also going to show you a video not previously released that Superintendent spoke to, and also the audio that's additional to what's been previously released. It's only a slight change on it. So give Sergeant Riley just a second as he gets that up and ready. Stand by for the video, please. There is no sound of the video.
Oh, that hurt my ears. All right. So the lines
As
are
Superintendent Carter
closed.
mentioned, he is on the railway bridge. You have to take different steps to get to it. This information later this afternoon will be on the State Police website. For the community that's here, we have 100 copies of the news release. If you put in that URL, you'll be able to get to that site to play it. And we also have that same release for you in the media. And the rest of the state will get that release in about 15 minutes. So we appreciate those of you that came here. This concludes our announcement. Thank you for your time, patience, and courtesy.
Just that video with no audio, or would it be audio as well?
There's just the video, there's no audio.
Video, no audio.
What we just played.
All right. So the poll says, question was the 2019 New Direction presser proof law enforcement was no longer interested in Ron Logan, and now they're back
Yeah,
onto
we'll run the
TV
video
crime
for you
making
again.
shots. 56% said yes, 29% said uncertain, and 13% said nope. 232 of you voted. Thanks for participating in that. All right, so we're gonna hang out, close her out for probably another 11 or so minutes. Up and by. If you're catching the replay, just leave a comment if you have any questions, and we will catch you there. I was just thinking that today, Kevin. Like, maybe he's trying to, say, hey, look, this is more of a chubby face, but didn't quite get it right. It's funny that you said that. Me personally, I don't know. Yeah, I heard that as well. I had a problem when I heard that. That's one thing I held that made me leery of ever talking to Anthony Grino, was that I thought he fabricated that information. So, and the thing is, all these people, they like to talk stuff about Anthony Grino, but the problems that I had with him, I said them to his face in private. You know, I was like, why'd you do this? Why'd you do that? You know, and he knew I didn't trust him. Even one time we were doing a show together and he wanted to swap passwords, and I was like, I'm not giving you my password. He's like, oh, I get it. So, and he's like, well, I'll give you mine. And I was like, I don't want your password. I was like, just give, you know, he's all, and we were doing a StreamYard, like a private meeting where you're just going to talk like Skype or Zoom or whatever it is. And I was like, well, just tell me right now. I'll log in and I'll do it. So he just, I never wrote it down, just typed it in as he gave it to me, and that was it. So that shows you how much trust I had, you know. Not that I'm saying anything either way. A little bit of info for you. Thank you, Beachberry. Hit that like button. Thank you, Go. I appreciate that. Who's that? Thank you, Bossy. You're awesome. I appreciate it. Thank you, guys. I'll catch you at the next one. Later.